need a powerful... Then along came countries who did the unthinkable. They separated the lower part of the body of the king from the other part. They cut off his head. And guess what happened? Civilization continued. Life went on, and we liked it so much, we don't have kings anymore. Parable number 2. Once upon a time it was thought that when young people reach the age of 16, 17, 18, and it comes time to start a family of their own, they need to have a spouse, a partner. And that person has to be picked by their parents. Because they're too young. Their hormones are racing around their bodies, and they're going to make terrible decisions. And it has to be done by the parent. If you leave that decision to the young person, the civilization will fall apart, nothing will ever work, it's the end of it. At a certain point, young people said, enough of this, I'll go out and find my own partner. I'm very happy with my parents' opinions, and that and 50 cents will get me on the subway, etc., etc. And we don't have that anymore, and civilization has survived. So now I ask you, suppose workers themselves took over their own businesses. Suppose every worker's job description was, you do this particular task Monday to Thursday, but on Friday it's part of your job to participate in running the enterprise. We don't want you just to be a drone, we want you to be a queen bee too. We want you to develop all the parts of your capabilities as a human being. If we want people to participate in politics as real citizens, we probably have to start by letting them participate as real whole people in the job they have. When you're an adult, 5 out of 7 days a week, you're focused on your job. If we don't make that a place where you can flourish as a human being and be a real Democrat, we're not going to have it in the rest of society. There's no mystery why democracy doesn't work real well in the rest of our society. Because we don't have it on the job, which is where we spend most of our lives. Why are we so afraid of going in that direction? Might it be for the same kinds of reasons that made people afraid to let young people find their own partners and to imagine a society that could live real well without a king? So yes, I am talking about a fundamental restructuring of our society. But I'm not asking it from you to think about it out of some utopian fantasy. I'm asking you to think about it because you're living in the alternative. If you don't change it, look what's happening to you. Your life, your opportunities. You're going to listen to people tell you, as this young man did here, about the kinds of what kind of society turns to its people most in need of help and takes it away from them at the same time that we have wild wealth that doesn't know what to do with its wealth. What kind of society? Where does your Christian or any other kind of morality allow for this? This is a time in which this society, whose boast, that's what capitalism's boast has been. Capitalism delivers the goods. Not anymore. So the question becomes, now what? The prices were announced, one last thing. Last week, Harvard, Yale, Princeton announced the price for an education per year to go to those schools. Tuition, room, and board, they run from September to April. So it's really 2/3 of a year, not the whole year. The tuition, room, and board is $51,000. The expected expenses for traveling, entertainment, books, computer is another, conservatively, $9,000. So it's $60,000 per year for the 8 months for 4 years. That's $250,000 per kid for a BA that doesn't get you much. At the same time that we have 30 million people without a job. There's something wrong here. You don't need an advanced education. You sure as hell don't need the PhD in economics that I sat through. There's something terribly wrong in a society that is cutting back on programs for children, for disabled folks, for the elderly, what is going on? What kind of priorities? What kind of society? What is happening? And it's not good to beat up people for being morally inept. This is not a moral problem at base. This is an economic system that is ceasing to function and is putting people against each other and delivering results that don't work for the majority of the people. And while it is hard to face that, I understand. The option should scare you even more. Thank you.
You can stick around for a bit. Again, if you want to organize against the cuts, please check out the table and their book for sale up there as well. Thanks.
Thank you.